Hey, I hope you're doing well. I had it in my head earlier today. I was like, I think I want to get on and say that. I think you know by now, if you're on this list, that I try not to email you unless I have something I'm really feeling called to say, and then I forgot that the time changed and it's dark. So anyway, so I'm all lit up with the lights in the room. That's a really good story, Brian. Here's what I want to share. Tomorrow, let's talk about hula hooping. When I released The Myth of Certainty and Other Great News, my most recent book, and I went out to talk about it, one of the things I needed to define is when we're processing and working to understand uncertainty, where does that play out? In fact, when we're processing and trying to understand and work through our own lives, where does that play out? In fact, when we're processing, trying to understand and trying to recognize, where do I actually have control, actually have power, actually have agency in my life? Where does that play out? Here. Don't have a rainbow colored hula hoop? Well, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. You don't have to have one. But if you imagine a hula hoop around you, kind of drop that down over the top of you, that interior space, just kind of use that as a rough estimate. That's your sphere of influence. That's it. That's your purview. That's where you have power. That's where you have control. Okay? That's where everything that's happening in your world is experienced. In fact, none of the things, this is a little existential, but nothing in your world happens outside of that hula hoop. I'm saying all this to say, and of course by hula hoop we're really talking about between your ears, but it's good to kind of define it that way, and I'm saying all that to say this. Everybody's kind of on pins and needles for what's ahead this week. Okay, well, once you have voted, if you've already voted or you're planning on voting tomorrow, and I know you're planning on voting tomorrow, or you've already voted because you're gonna vote. This is not an election, just sit out. This isn't one of those. If you have issues that you're wrestling with and you disagree with the candidate who's running to be president, that's fine. You can deal with those issues later, but you can't sit it out because one's running to be president and the other isn't. So once you vote, that's the power you had in that hula hoop. What's next is to stay in your hula hoop. You don't have control of the other things that are going to happen next. Not at this moment. Your control is all in here, so you get to do the things in there that you know how to do to take care of you. I'm sure I'll be talking about this again soon when the holidays arrive, about how you know how to take care of you. Don't surrender that in this moment of stress. Just because there are shiny things happening, don't surrender what you know to do within your hula hoop, the only place you have power. Keep taking care of you. To that end, one last thing. When the returns start coming in tomorrow night, you do whatever you want to do about that. Okay? Most of the experts are saying we probably won't know tomorrow night. Nobody really knows. Here's what I do know. I'm looking at it like a hurricane, which is probably appropriate. But I'm looking at it like a hurricane because what I learned living in Louisiana for 18 years is that when a hurricane would get close to shore, the updates would become like once an hour, there'd be a meaningful update. Once an hour. So if you saw an 8 p.m. update and you sat there stressing yourself out for the next hour, that was on you, man. That was you being outside your hula hoop and thinking there was more to control. You already got the update. So my suggestion is, if you're going to be watching them, tune in, get your update, tune out. Okay? Keep taking care of you. Keep doing the things you know to do in your hula hoop. Yes, vote, but then breathe. Stay centered. Keep taking care of you. You depleting you isn't going to make it get any better. Last but not least, a line from a show that's just popping in my head right now that I adore, and I think I've mentioned before. One character says to the other, "Should I be worried?" And the other sincerely says back, "Has that ever helped?" Here's hoping everything turns out, trusting everything will turn out as it's supposed to. Stay in your hula hoop. Take care of you. More soon. Be good to you. One finger, apparently, not two.